Welcome back to the news at 10. The governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Nsima Ekere, has flagged off his campaign for the March the 2nd governorship election at the Uyo Township Stadium. Addressing his supporters who thronged the venue, Mr. Ekere promised to make life better for the people with quality programs that will enhance their standard of living.
Excellency, we greet you.
Supporters of the All Progressives Congress APC from the 31 local government areas of Akwa Ibom State taking up every available space at the Uyo Township Stadium.
We are flagging off the government.
They're here with leaders of the party from the state and beyond to register their support for the governorship candidate, Mr. Nsima Ekere, as he flags off his campaign for the March 2nd election.
Begin the journey.
Addressing party faithful, Mr. Ekere says the time has come for Akwa Ibom State to experience what real development is, insisting that it is only an APC-led administration that can make that happen.
Without the resources, without the endowment that God has blessed us with, we have absolutely no business with poverty. And so we shall banish poverty from Akwa Ibom State. We shall create jobs for our children. We shall create wealth. And we shall make sure that those borrowed days come back to Akwa Ibom State.
The former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, as well as the governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, were present at the event to support the aspiration of Mr. Ekere, as well as the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Pick up that battle and give it to my brother, Mr. Ekere. Once you do that, once you give him the vaccine, trust me, with what he has done in NDC, Akwa Ibom will run again. Before I leave, I want to leave you with one word. February 16, go to the polls. Take your PVC. Vote for President Muhammadu Buhari. Once you vote, once President Buhari wins, all other things will be added to Akwa Ibom.
And let me tell you, all these people here, they believe strongly in you. Please take care of them.
With this flag off, Mr. Ekere now has to continue taking his message to every part of the state in his bid to become the next governor of Akwa Ibom State.
And staying with campaign trails, this time in Ogun State Southwest region, Governor Bukule Amosun has described himself as a grassroots politician who is in touch with his people, even beyond politics. Governor Amosun says his style of politics is not on social media, but directly with the people he represents. He was speaking during his campaign tour to Abeokuta North local government area of the state, and he's running to represent Ogun Central Senatorial District in the national election.
February 16 is less than 4 weeks away. That is the day for the presidential and National Assembly elections. And Ogun State Governor Ibukule Amosun, who is in the race, Ogun Central Senatorial District at the Senate, has been moving around to ask for votes. Not just for himself, but also for President Muhammadu Buhari. This time, he is in Abeokuta, not local government area. But to some residents, the governor's visit here is not to campaign.
We thank you for the good work you're doing, which we all see, especially in the area of security. Our security has improved since you assumed office as governor of Ogun State.
All our women are solidly behind Amosun. This is because of the good work he is doing. When some of our children who are abroad return home, they are impressed by what they describe as the transformation of the state. For Governor Amosun, whatever these residents commend him for are only part of a 50-year plan for the Gateway State.
For any development to happen, the infrastructure must be in place. Clearly, we have demonstrated it in our major city centers, in Abeokuta, in Shagamu, Ijebu, Ilaro, Ota, Ijebugo, Agowoye, Ikokia, all of those places. We have demonstrated that for any development to happen, infrastructure must be in place. But infrastructure is not just about roads. Infrastructure will include even the security, the environment, yes, road, rail, water, electricity. That is infrastructures. We are happy that we have now laid the foundation for Ogun State for the next 50 years. The foundation is well laid.
From there, he moves to yet another ward with an assurance that the promises he gets here are not mere words, as they have helped him since joining politics in year 2000.
And members of the Allied People's Movement in Ogun State say they are confident of their party's popularity and their chances as the governorship candidate Adekunle Akinlade in the coming election. In the last few weeks, he's been reeling out his plans and enlightening supporters of what to look out for when they're voting. He tells his supporters to vote overwhelmingly for him, as he alleges that his political opponents may rig the election if he is ahead by a slim margin.
The APM candidate Adekunle Akinlade continues his Work to World campaign, spending 2 days in Ijebu East local government area of the state. Cassava, the party's logo, a popular symbol in most communities here, is on display both in its raw and processed form. Day and night, in the sun and under the rain, the movement continues. Members of the party believe the relentless effort is paying off already.
He's telling them what he's about to do. He's telling them what the people need to hear. Clearly, it shows that Honorable Akinlade is all about continuity. He understands governance, he understands what the people of Ogun State need to hear, and he understands what he needs to do.
I want everybody in every ward, in ward to ward, to go out en masse, to go and vote for APM, because it's the party that can help people now in Ogun State.
And to the party, all seem to be going according to plan as it continues to ride on the popularity of the crop to push its brand identity.
Please come out and vote. Vote APM. Vote for cassava revolution. Vote cassava. When you see it, you will not see Kule here, you will not see Chikwe. What you will see is Abadi cassava. Vote cassava on March 2nd, 2019.
As Mr. Akinlade continues his tour of 236 wards of the state amid rousing welcome, the communities pledge their support and also table their challenges, giving the candidate an idea of the workload that awaits him if he is elected in March this year.
The campaign trail is indeed getting very interesting. Away from the trail now, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, is excited at the prospects that the Dangote Refinery will bring when it's completed. Mr. Emefiele is also satisfied with the work done so far during his inspection tour of the facilities at the Ibeju-Lekki area of Lagos. The chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, took him round the jetty, the $2 billion fertilizer plant, as well as the $9 billion refinery projects.
This tour of the ongoing Dangote Refinery, petrochemical, fertilizer project, as well as the Dangote Deepwater Jetty in Lagos by the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in company of the President Dangote Group is taking about 4 hours.
What we do when we start the plant.
It has also taken thousands of personnel working day and night, hundreds of cranes and other heavy-duty equipment to get the 650,000 barrels per day refinery, the largest single-train petroleum refinery in the world, and the 3 million tons per annum urea plant to this level.
Close to 2,000 hectares were swamps. We had all the swamp bogies in the country and they were not adequate. So we had to even bring our own swamp bogies.
When operational, the huge forest earnings expected to accrue from export of the petrochemical and fertilizer plants and the prospect for job seekers means a lot to the CBN governor.
By the time you add the savings from the production and export of petroleum products, by the time you also add the foreign exchange that we spend on food items, close to almost 55 to 60% of what central bank or what the government spend in funding its foreign exchange operations would have been saved in the country. By the time this project comes on live, you can imagine the industry that will be opened around this vicinity.
On his part, the president of the Dangote Group believes this will impact the nation's economy massively.
But by the time we finish our fertilizer, I think Nigeria will be the largest exporting fertilizer country in Africa, not even in sub-Saharan Africa. Will be also the largest exporters of petrochemicals, of polypropylene, polyethylene, maybe about head-to-head with South Africa because of SASO, and then will be the biggest actually in Africa in exporting petroleum products. So it's a major transformation.
While the fertilizer plant is expected to begin operations by May this year, the Dangote Refinery, which can meet the country's requirement of all petroleum products, including kerosene, diesel, gasoline and aviation jet fuel, is set to come on stream by 2020.
Let's take a look at some business news now. Here's Kayode Okikiolu.
You first. First Bank.
Many thanks, Ijeoma, and you're welcome to Business News. The central bank has advised the federal government to expedite action on the implementation of the value-added tax. And the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, says this will improve revenue for government as well as reduce dependence on oil revenues. The CBN boss, who was speaking at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja, decries the low funding of the businesses of small-scale entrepreneurs by commercial banks.
And mounting external debt in
It's 2 days since members of the Monetary Policy Committee have been meeting to deliberate on key economic decisions and how it will impact the country in 2019. After the closed-door meeting, it is time to brief journalists on some forecasts. Key of such projections is a growth rate of 2.8% for the nation's economy in 2019.
Output growth is expected to be driven by fiscal stimulus from increase in oil and non-oil receipts to support the federal government's economic recovery and growth plan. The economy is projected to grow by 2% according to IMF, 2.2% by the World Bank, and 2.28% by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Key headwinds to these forecasts, however, are softening oil prices, persistent security challenges arising from insurgency in northeast and herdsmen attack in some parts of the country, and perceived political risks associated with 2019 general elections.
The committee identifies areas that require urgent attention.
Increased tax collection will reduce the pressure on government expenditure and create fiscal buffers to improve macroeconomic management. The observed and recent high foreign capital inflow into the Nigerian economy, despite the perception of election risks, is evidence of the confidence of the international community in the country's macroeconomic management and provides a compelling reason for the committee to await clarity on macroeconomic performance after the general elections in February and March 2019.
Although the economy is reported to have recovered in the second quarter of 2017, it still remains largely fragile and susceptible to recession at about 1.81% growth rate in the last quarter of 2018. In the meantime, Mr. Emefiele warns government against the risk of rising debt level, which he noted was approaching the pre-2015 levels.
Well, let's head over to the stock exchange, where market sentiment turned slightly positive at the close of today's trading on the NSE after Monday's moderate downturn as mixed performance trailed activities. Let's now join Teniola Shobawale for the details.
Hello and and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Tuesday's trading session at the stock exchange ended flat, but positive for the market's benchmark indicators following mixed sentiments by short-term investors. The sectoral activity was characterized by some profit-taking as well as bargain hunting across the 5 key counters of the market, which led to a 2 billion naira recovery for the equities capitalization. Linkage Assurance is top gainer for a second consecutive day, up by 9.84% ahead of 26 other gainers, while Sovereign Trust Insurance led 11 other losers, down by 8.33%. Diamond Bank retains the #1 spot on the activity chart with a turnover of 71.58 million units traded from a total of 245.98 million shares in over 3,300 transactions for Tuesday. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Teniola Shoboale.
Thank you, Teniola. On a global scale, investors' concerns over lower recently released global growth projections by the IMF takes its toll on the performance of major world stock markets at the close of today's session. Well, let's take a look at the figures. Well, that's business news. Thank you for watching. I am Kayode Okikiolu. It's back to you, Ijeoma.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Coyote. Still ahead on the news at 10, light aircraft carrying Cardiff City new signing Emiliano Sala goes missing over the English Channel Islands as search is suspended. That's on sports. Stay with us.